All right, we're live. Welcome, gentlemen.
Awesome.
So today is our second week talking about Motionbox and talking about content and video content. We have a special guest today, Kamal, and Kamal is going to share with us some of the strategies and the experimentation that he's done over the past. He's got some really interesting experiments that he's ran that has gained him some success. Welcome, Kamal.
Hello. Hey, how are you? Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and so I just recently was introduced to you by Antonio, and the first thing that I noticed that you did was you bought a billboard in Lebanon,
Yeah.
and you got some great press release from that. I thought that was really interesting. What was going through your head? Like how did you like read an article? Like how did you come across that idea?
Actually, to be honest, there are a lot of things that went into this idea. First of all, is I've been having morning walks every single day, like 10 kilometer, 15, 20-kilometer walks every single day. So this is giving me a lot of ideas, a lot of inspiration of things I can do. Which one of them is looking at billboards and seeing the signs in the
It
street,
seems like you're getting
which gave me.
inspiration from like the offline world, whereas like we're so tapped in and wired into the online world. But it's interesting that you're getting all this inspiration from like the old school traditional methods, which I think is like interesting nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. And the walk is because here in Lebanon, we're still into like 50-50 on the lockdown. Like there are places that are open and places that are not. The places that I love to go to are closed. So I've been stuck here at the house for a lot of time. So it's good to like go out, have a walk, and just like kind of get out of this zone, which is giving me a lot of ideas, and not just this one, like in terms of content in general, and which is one of them, which is this one, and also a post I've made before, which is a sign that is photoshopped. So I was like, let's bring them both together and do the sign.
Right. That's good. That's something that you get in terms of advice in the startup world a lot is like sort of testing the waters initially to see if the idea is valid
Yeah,
and if it has some potential with like like sort of like a low fidelity, low effort sort of way to test and evaluate ideas. And it sounds like you did that really well with content. And it sounds like there's a lesson there to be learned is like with experimentation, you could run cheap experiments and see if there's potential there. And if there is potential, then you can expand upon that and go a little bit more hardcore and buy a billboard, which that's pretty
yeah,
baller. I feel like you seem like a young dude, so I don't know, were you like early young 20s or something like that's pretty baller to like
yeah,
have your own billboard.
22, 22,
22 year old has his own billboard. That's super baller. And actually, like when it comes to billboards, I think like it's super interesting. Like it's not a current way of marketing, at least not like from with like Twitter and Facebook ads and stuff. It's not
definitely.
the first thing that comes to mind, but it is super interesting. I remember like the first thing that I noticed when I moved to San Francisco is the city is plastered with billboards. Like as soon as you enter there, all these like apps and startups and like Uber and Lyft, they all have their own billboards. And it does leave an interesting impression in your mind when you see these billboards. And another thing with billboards, I found it really interesting is like the city that you're in, it's sort of the billboards describe what the city is all about. Like now that I'm in San
Yeah,
Diego, every single billboard's like beer or like some sort of like alcoholic kombucha beer or some sort of brewery. And that's what San Diego is all about is like going to the beach and drinking beer and breweries and all that type of stuff. When you're in San Francisco, it's tech ads. So it's super interesting.
hmm,
Billboards are awesome.
Yeah, LA is like the weed maps and the
You
weed
see weed maps.
like
Yeah, you see.
yeah.
Well, you see, also see like a lot of actors too. A lot of
Yes.
movies and stuff. Which that's what LA is. What would
Netflix.
you say like in Lebanon? Like, what are the billboards like there? Is that true? Does it describe the city?
actually,
Or what are
actually,
the
it
common
doesn't really
billboards?
describe the city, but the billboards here basically are either products like, let's say, nutrition products like cans and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
cars. These are, I, if I'm sure, these are like 70% of the billboards here, which is either a nutrition product like a can of meat or anything, or cars. That's basically what all the billboards are. So
Well,
having this one.
does I mean, what do people in Lebanon love cars?
It's not to be honest. It doesn't reflect anything. Honestly, like I do
It's
understand what you meant in like in LA, all of them are movies and stuff. But here in Lebanon, it's really everybody has its own billboard. So
right,
it doesn't really reflect in Lebanon on what do we believe in. But for example, you never see a billboard of a movie, and you never see a billboard of
right.
I don't know, like Netflix and such, because it's really not common here, which relates back
Right.
to your point.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, so with the billboard, like, what has that done for you? I mean, I think like you have I mean, we're just talking about the billboard, but you have all kinds of content. Sort of like what's your process and how much like does experimentation work for you in terms of like sort of trial and error? Like, have you had some like failed experiments that are you're just like, okay, this is not the path to go. And I need to change it
Yeah,
up. So I feel like a lot of
a
people
lot.
they try to create content, it just doesn't work. But they try to like force the content that doesn't work. They try to do it
Yeah.
over and over, and it just doesn't work. And they're like, why am I not going anywhere? And it's like, well, that's the definition of insanity. You're trying to make a change, but you're doing the same thing over and over. But it sounds like you're really scientific about it.
For me, it's not just about if it doesn't work or not. For me, if it's am I comfortable with it? Am I happy doing it? So I've had
Right.
a lot of context. So for example, I used to create carousels. They used to work. They used to get a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of followers. But I was
Right.
like, okay, but I'm not enjoying them. I'm not enjoying
Right.
creating them. So I switched to videos more about Instagram growth and motivation. It got also good engagement, and not more than the carousels, but got good engagement. But then I reached a point where I was like, okay, this is my run. I'm not just being happy with it anymore. So right now, I'm switching more into comedic style impersonations, like fast videos, and
Right.
also on YouTube. Like on YouTube, I've been creating more YouTube content that is commentary style, the entertainment commentary style, like Leon Lush, for example, a bit of PewDiePie, but without the gaming. So this style of commentary YouTube, which I really enjoy, honestly. Like the only content I consume on YouTube is commentary style content. So I've been creating that, and I've enjoying it a lot. Like it's so fun to create.
Right. That's a really good point. I think because, this is a long-term game. It requires a lot of consistency, like,
Yeah.
for years, right? And,
Like
you got to do what
Antonio
you
have
love doing.
Antonio has experimented with that as well. Like we used to create both kind of the same content, like around Instagram and stuff, and then Antonio switched to tech and gaming,
Right.
which is obviously he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for somebody that's sort of new to the content game, like, how would you recommend that they get started? Because the one thing that I've always faced is like trying to get started can be hard because there's so many different styles that you can take on. My intuition says just pick something that might be common, might be trendy, pick it, see if you like it, and then over time you can adjust your style and find your voice.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's what I did. Like when I first started, honestly, content creation has been in my life for a long time, but I've never actually
Right.
took it seriously. Like when I was 13 or 12, I used to create content around wrestling figure animation, stop motion animation on YouTube. I created a bit of gaming videos, some graphic design videos, but I never really actually took it seriously until March 2020, where I ran into the carousel community. So just like you said, I ran into carousel community. It was growing. It was trendy, basically, and I hopped on it. So I was like, okay, let's create carousels. And then because of that, because I started with carousels, it helped me experiment more about myself, which helped me discover that I love video, and then which helped me
Right.
discover that I love commentary. So this starting point is not what I'm doing right now, but it's what helped me actually reach what I'm doing right now.
Right. How big of a contributor was the community in that journey? Like by having guys like Antonio and other friends that you can sort of talk to and exchange ideas from. How important is that?
Honestly, for me, it was really, really important, and because I'm a person that loves to have friends around, so I
Yeah.
have a lot of friends online that are as close as the friends here and offline. So, for example,
Wow.
Antonio might know Lucas O'Keefe.
Yeah.
We talk a lot of times, and we don't just talk like, hey, nice post. We talk about, hey man, I have this idea. Do you think it might work? And we just talk like friends. We discuss
Right.
ideas. We discuss things in life. So just like basic offline friends, but online. And this helps you create a community. This helps you create a friendship. This helps you understand that what you're doing online is not just talking to accounts. You're talking to actual people, to real friends, to real people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting because like initially, like, right now you don't currently like carousels, but that's sort of the foot in the door. That's what got you into
Yep.
the door and got you connected with people. And then sort of evolved into something else, but you had to get started somewhere. And I think that's where everyone kind of is. It's like that, they have to get started somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it is. As long as there's some resemblance of interest. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it might evolve and you might find some people and you might all evolve together into something else.
And the thing that I think people are afraid of is they will like, okay, if I start with this idea and if I change, will I lose the audience? The audience start to hate me. They be like,
Right.
oh, why you changed? But for me, actually, like I've built the audience on top of Instagram growth content and carousels. But right now, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not doing anything close to that. But the audience is still enjoying me because right now they're connected to me. They're not connected to my
Right.
content. Like they were like,
Right.
okay, we are connected to Kamal. Whatever he does, we just
We
love his
follow.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just love his personality. We just love
Mm.
the way he thinks. We don't just love the content. Of course, the content is what gets them there, but it's me that lets them stay.
Right, right. That's actually a really good point because at the end of the day, the content is sort of just a vehicle to your perspective, to your idea. It doesn't matter like what the medium is per se. It could be an image, it could be an audio, it could be a video, whatever it is. And there could be various styles, documentary style. It could be cinematic style. It doesn't matter what it is, but we're always trying to tell a story, and we're always trying to like hit the nail on the head with a message or some value or some
Yeah.
anecdotal evidence of something. So like, yeah, it's really interesting. And so it's like that for any creator out there, it's like maybe that's some really good advice for them. It's like, hey, experiment with different things, but the thing that matters the most, not the medium, it's the message, and that's the thing that you should be focusing on.
The message and the person who's saying the message, like how well do you connect with the audience? Like for me, I just now I made a post about how to let the people into your safe space, which is when you create a video, having things in the video that are relating to you. So for me, I always have these action figures in the background.
Right.
I always have a Rubik's Cube, for example,
Mm.
things that are related to me, which helps people actually opens a space. Like, oh, hey, I'm
Interesting.
Warburg as well, so let's connect.
Wow. Okay, that's really good advice. I think that's like something you wouldn't get from anyone else. Like on the surface, I think going deeper into it, just like having your own sort of materials, your own branding, sort of like assets or your own things that people can kind of assign to you. Like
Yeah.
just certain key traits that make people they get reminded about who you are and what you're about. Yeah, it's really
Exactly.
good advice.
I once was sent by DM a meme around superheroes, around Marvel, by somebody on Instagram, one of my followers, and he sent me a meme. I was like, I saw that on Instagram, and I immediately thought of you, so I sent it to you.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
this is like he thought of me because of this meme, because I have these action figures in the background. So right now
Right.
I'm on the top of his head.
Yeah, everything sort of has a theme to it. Like, especially even if you look at like content like on Netflix or movies and stuff, there's always like a theme. It's like, is it dark and grungy and sort of sad like the Joker movie or like Mr. Robot? There's sort of a
Right.
theme to it. And then there's like
Yeah,
I've been watching Baywatch recently, and so it's like completely different theme, completely different aspect, completely different place that it puts you in. And so every content creator sort of you have to create like a mood and create your own theme that people can kind of like a vibe that people get from you. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, sort of like I guess like for this talk, it's just really just free fall, and there's no like particular
yeah.
agenda. We're just sort of like figuring it out. But I think like at the end of the day,
Actually, I, I want to know what Antonio's experience is changing from like for example for me I changed the content, yes, but I'm still kind of in the entrepreneurship, the business
Right.
world, but I changed
right?
the
That's what I
style.
want to talk about.
Like right now I'm making more into comedic or entertainment videos, but I'm
Yeah.
still like commenting on things that are related to business, for example, related to social media, related
See,
to
that's something I'm
trendy
really
things.
curious about both of you guys as content creators. Like,
But
what is your why? And how does somebody define the why? Because I think that's like one of the most important questions that anybody can have, entrepreneurial, like content creator, whatever it is that you're doing. Why are you doing it? Like, what is it all leading up to?
For me, actually, it's leading up to just me being my own business, me like my brand or Kamal being its own business. Like me having, for example, I don't need to start something. I don't need to work as an employee. For example, I'm saying
Right.
I don't need to start a business to be able to make money or to make income or to live.
Right.
I can be my own business. I can work with brands. I can go and show up on TV shows, for example, show up online and make money because of me, because of my name. That's my why. Because even
I
right
think,
now with my agency, like I'm starting an agency, but even
yeah,
right now I'm feeling like going to the office. The problem for me is not having a business or working for someone. The problem for me is being restrained to this timing. Like, oh, I have to
Right.
go to the office from 9 till 5, even though I'm the CEO,
right,
even though I'm the owner, but it's just not the freedom that I love, which is why I'm
right,
switching to more in freelance agency.
Makes sense.
right. Yeah, it sounds like, lifestyle, to be able to meet a certain lifestyle, and then also to like find something you're passionate about and put everybody wants purpose out of life. And I think, when you're creating content, it kind of meets that cross section between feeling purposeful and then also, delivering what you need to have that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's like that crossroad there. And we're all trying to find that. And it's like peeling back layers of an onion. And it's hard to find that initially. That's why you get into the carousel community, you get kind of find sort of a slight calling as to what you're interested in. You listen to that calling, you follow up with it, and then you just dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and eventually get to the center, which is what we're all sort of
Exactly.
digging for.
And this is the reason I switched from, for example, right now I'm switching more into focusing on YouTube, because YouTube will allow me to have this, like Instagram, as much as you create, if brands don't reach out to you, for example, there is limited exposure or limited opportunity for you to make some income. But on YouTube, you have the basic, which is the ad revenue, and also the huge exposure of YouTube, which is why I switch. Like right now, I'm switching more into YouTube specific content.
So with content though, I've always been interested, because it's kind of like a new sort of abstract type of thing. It's like, traditionally speaking, like when it came to like professions and jobs and stuff, like it was a very clear, tangible thing that you were providing for society. Like if you were an auto mechanic, somebody had a broken down car, you go to the mechanic, they fix the car,
Yeah.
then you pay the mechanic. It's super straightforward, right? But with content creators, it's kind of this weird, abstract thing. But the way I break it down in the most logical sense is like, there's two types of creators. One is somebody that's entertaining, and then the other is like somebody that's educating. Or there's a little bit of crossbreed between the two. But it's usually broken down into those two, because people want entertainment, they're bored with their lives, they want to laugh, they want to be entertained by something. So how would you break that down? Like, and what are you specifically? Are you sort of a crossbreed between two, or are you more focused on entertainment?
Right now, I'm more focusing on entertainment, because for me, this is where I find myself. Like I've always said, I don't want to be like, hey, the social media expert or the social media coach or the businessman.
Right.
And this entertainment helps me be that person that, oh, he just makes me laugh.
Right.
So it's on my recent YouTube channels, like I've made a entertainment video of making fun of Dan Locke's video, for example, making fun of Gen Z canceling Eminem. Right now, I have a video.
There's something there too, though, because like you're making it entertaining, but you're calling out people that have a lot of clout. So you're almost like getting some of that clout yourself.
This is actually, like, I've talked with the person here in Lebanon that has the biggest prank channel in the Middle East. How about Beirut? It has like 1.8 million. And he was like, at the first stage, you need to clout chase. You need to talk about Dan Locke, for example, use his image in the thumbnail, use his name in the thumbnail, just to get a bit of traction. And once you get that first initial audience, then you can go crazy with whatever you want.
Because there's clearly like a strategy aspect to content creation. Because if you're creating content, your time is finite, and you're gonna die in 60 years, 80 years. So you want to make sure your time's well spent while creating that content, so that you can actually make an impact, gain an audience, get sort of the reward, if you will, so that you can pay for your lifestyle. So you have to implement a strategy. Like even if you love creating the content, there's still like a business side of it. There's still a strategic side of it that you have to implement to gain successes. Yeah.
For me, what I think content creation is the hardest job. Honestly, it's the hardest job, because
it's very hard.
First of all,
especially in the entertainment sector, because there's not a whole lot of money up front. It's like being a comedian or an actor or a comedian. It's like when you got it and you're good, right? But at the beginning, it's like a fight to the top.
And there are a lot of balls you will juggle. Like, for example, right now, I need to come to research. I need to come up with the idea. I need to film. I need to edit. I need to post. I'm juggling a lot of balls, and you need to constantly come up with ideas, constantly be on the lookout. So it's not like just, okay, clocking out at 9 and then finishing work at 5, and that's it. You can basically do whatever you want. Content creation is just a 24/7 job.
It requires, that's the hard sort of paradox there, is like, it takes all your time and energy, but initially for a very long time, you probably won't get paid. You probably won't make a whole lot of money initially. So you kind of have to treat it as a side hustle, and you have to like go and get that bread somehow through a 9 to 5 or whatever it is. That's like the hard thing. Like, how would you advise like creators that are like on the come up, right? And they really want to make it big, and they want to allocate all their time, but they need to pay the bills. Like, how do you solve that problem?
Just get a job. Either if you have a service you can offer, this is the easiest thing, which is what I did. Like, I had a service, which was social media marketing, and I gained clients because of that. But at the same time, even when I had a full-time job, like that was in March, no, not March, after March a bit for 3 months, I had a full-time job. I used to go from 8 till 5 to a full-time job. But I continued to create content from 6 till 12 after I finished job. And this helped me get more clients. And this helped me quit my job and work alone, like as a freelancer with more clients.
I think that's a great strategy. Yeah, especially like if you're 22, so you're kind of at that age where you're just now developing your skills and you can actually leverage those skills. But when you're like 18, 19, 20, you're still trying to figure it out and you're still developing those skills. But I think the key is to, figure out a way to get yourself paid without having skills, whether that's like, cashier
100%.
job, whatever it is. And during that time, work on those skills and then bridge the things that you've learned into developing those skills into making some freelance money, and then bridge that into becoming a full-time creator eventually. It's like monkey branching.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Like you start, first of all, you have a full-time job. You want to get out of the full-time job, so you start using your free time to create content if you want to become a content creator. And then once that content takes off, you're just now making money because of it. So you quit your full-time job, and then your content creation job becomes everything in your life. So
you know what? I just realized that's great advice, and I realized that everybody sort of intuitively knows that. It's really straightforward. It's super practical. But the problem I think a lot of people have is they get too complacent at one stage, and instead of doing the extra work on the side, they watch Netflix or they watch TV, and they never ended up developing those skills in that time after the 9 to 5, and they end up getting comfortable and they get stuck at that 9 to 5, and that's usually the problem.
This is where you accountability. It's not just accountability. This is where you'll be like, okay, if you want this, you can't just watch Netflix. You can't go out. You can't. You have to work for it. And this just goes back to actually working hard for what you want. And actually, but for example, for me, I never felt like, oh, I need to work, because watching Netflix for me is not as important as editing a video or creating content. It's not just, oh, I need to work. Oh, I have work, I need to be. It's not. It comes natural to me. Like,
it's a burning desire. Like sometimes I know, like when I'm not coding and I have like sort of, I know I need to finish this thing and like I really want to finish it. It's just a burning desire. Like I can't even think. I can't be present with Netflix or with whatever I'm doing. It's just this desire that I have to go itch. It's a scratch I have to itch. And
so like watching Netflix is just not interesting for me. But it's not like, oh, I don't watch any movies. Like 2 days ago, I watched a 4-hour movie, Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I just binge watched it 4 hours straight. And that's, sometimes I do that. But also a lot of the time, the major amount of my time, I just be editing videos or researching content ideas or doing this or doing that.
It's because so easy when you have passion for it too. Definitely. I'm the same way. And it's like, I love surfing now, and I'll take time off. I used to be like obsessive with work, like 7 days a week. But then I realized, you know what? Like the best way to do it is like you give it 5 or 6 days of your 100% focus and attention and effort. You just give it your all. And then it's good to like binge watch, take some time off. Once you feel satisfied, you felt like you left it all out there, then you can, comfortably relax and watch those 4-hour movies or go surfing or go whatever, hang out, go get some drinks and stuff like that. But that's the thing. I think the key is you got to just feel satisfied, give it your all, and then go take a little break.
And it's also not beating yourself up when you do that, when you have fun. Like some people I see like, oh, I'm having fun, but I feel bad. I have to work. No, you don't have to work.
I think I see people doing that. I think it's just because maybe they feel guilty. They didn't give it their all, and that's the key. That's why when you're working, give it 100,000%. Like give it your all, and then you will not ever feel guilty. And if you feel guilty, it's probably because you didn't give it your all. That's the way I see it. So
that's also
man. That's really cool. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of overlap in the mindset between people that are content creators, entrepreneurs, whatever it is. There's a lot of overlaps there. But I think there's a lot of content creators that want to end up making money. So for you, it seems like, okay, now you have a skill, you can offer a service. There's service-based business that you can offer. So how would you advise people that want to create a service from their content creation ability? How would they get started?
Honestly, for me, if you're gonna talk about content creation, if we're gonna talk about straight content creation from my content, I still haven't made money. I did last month. I worked with a brand called Tiki, and this was because of my content. This was purely because of my content. But I did get clients because of my service. Like I make income right now because I offer services to business. to
Right.
businesses, which were attracted because of my content. But it's not like I'm making money with my brand or by brand deals or stuff. I'm making money because I have
Right.
a service to offer.
Right.
So just like we talked about before, if you don't have a service to offer, you just want to make your money straight from your content. You need to find a niche where it's possible, where it's you can make that content, that money.
Yeah,
So right now,
yeah.
yeah, because I switched to more entertainment and more YouTube, this right now I'm working for that. So you can say like right now I have a job and I'm working in my free time to create a source of income from my solely my content. So it's just about figuring out if you have a service or not. If you don't have a service
Right.
and you don't want to acquire a service, then you need to focus on where can you make money from your content. Is it brand deals? Is it ad revenue?
Right.
Is it
Right.
sponsorships? How can you make money? How do you want to make money? It's
Yeah.
very different for everyone.
Absolutely. Like that's why like positioning is key. Depending on like who you are, what type of audience are you attracting? What are you sort of offering? Like what makes sense at the back end of the whole situation? Like, are you selling real estate, for instance? Like, if you're doing high ticket, for instance, you could literally have 100 just super wealthy people watching your content and make one sale, and you're making a shit ton of money. If you make just a percentage off a $10 million
Yeah.
deal, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't even need a whole lot of volume. But if you're selling like, consumer goods, and you're selling something that's like a $10 price tag, you probably need a whole lot of volume. You probably need like millions of people watching your content at a 10%, 1% conversion rate. You probably need a lot of eyeballs. So it really depends on your positioning, what you're selling, who you're selling to, et cetera, et cetera.
If you have a service or not, if you have a product or not. Actually, it's a very broad. This is why it's beautiful. Like content creation, this is why it's beautiful. Is because there is
Right.
a room for everyone. Like if you have a
Right.
service or not, you can go into it. If you're just
Yep.
in your personality, you're a funny guy. There is place for you to make money in content creation. It's
Right.
place for everyone. But at the same time, it's not for everyone because it's very hard. Because it requires talent, requires skills.
Well, the way I see it, it's a whole pipeline. The content itself is sort of on the sort of high end of the funnel, where it's just grabbing attention, drawing people in. But during that pipeline, there's a whole bunch of other people that have different levels of expertise that work well along those pipelines. We lost Antonio.
Yeah.
But basically what I was saying is like, people could be at the back end working on the products, right? Not necessarily on the front end creating the content. So there's a role for everyone in that sales pipeline. And so you just got to find who you are and what you like to do. But you clearly like to create content. So you're at the head of that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like my thing is what I figured. My thing is creating content, and that's what I'm working towards. Like I'm working towards a place where I can be like, okay, content is what's bringing me the most amount of money. Even if I have a service, and even if I have 0 clients, for example, this month, I still can make my income from my content. This is where I want to reach.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think, if you're just getting started, that going after the service-based route is the most guaranteed, safest bet that will generate cash. The problem though is it can be hard to scale. So like if you want to become a millionaire or a billionaire, it's really hard to scale a service-based business unless if you start to hire more people and you start to expand that way.
Yeah,
but the cool thing about services, it's super low barrier to entry. And it's a guaranteed way to start to bring in some cash early on. And so,
exactly. There is no upfront cost. There is no investment. You just have to know a certain thing, whether it's web building, coding, graphic design, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have to know a certain skill, and you start putting yourself in front of the people that might need your skill or your service.
Yep.
And
then
that's
you exchange your skill and your time for a little bit of money. But at some point, if you're trying to make a lot of it, you can't sell your time for money. And so that's when you eventually start to transition. But it's a great sort of way for people to get started, is selling their time and their services for money, especially if you don't want to work, a job that's not aligned with your purpose. It's a great way to do what you love, get paid while doing it, and work on the next thing. So for you, It sounds like you want to eventually make. Do you know personally, like, do you want to be a millionaire? Is that one of your goals?
No, actually, it's not that I don't want to be a millionaire. Yeah, I want to be a millionaire, but it's not one of my goals. It's not one of my goals. My goal is.
Do you have the number that in your head that would make you happy as a content creator?
No. Actually, one of the things that I want is to be able to get recognized on the street. That's my goal. I want to.
So you want some a little bit of fame,
I,
a little bit.
yeah, that's I don't care about the money. I don't care if I'm making
Right.
$0. I just care about waking up, being happy with, or going to work. Let's say going to
Yeah,
work, being happy with working,
that's true. Yeah, that's
and
purpose.
yeah,
Yeah,
like of
and you
course
want to
I
be
want to reach a
recognized
point.
for your
Yeah,
work.
I want to reach a point where I'm making money, of course, but it's
Right,
not my goal. Like I'm fine making 100,000 a year. I don't know how much, whatever it is,
right.
but in the return, I'm creating content that I'm happy with. I'm waking up happy. I'm enjoying my day. People know who I am. I have a lot of friends. That's it.
I think that's what pretty much everybody would want. I would say, and it's easier said than done. It's hard. Like, what's stopping you from getting there? And are you close to that? And what are the
I'm
things that
work
you need to fully get there?
this like I recently just started. It's not just starting working that, but started taking seriously. And I think for me, YouTube is going to be the gateway for that. For me, like
Right,
I've always created the content on YouTube, but I created content on YouTube just for the purpose of repurposing it to Instagram.
right.
That's it. Just to take some clips and post it on Instagram. But just recently, I've started to be like, okay, even if I have to stop Instagram, I'm gonna stop Instagram just to focus on YouTube.
Right, right.
So I
And
think YouTube is
and
gonna be the entryway for me, and also
yeah,
things like the billboards thing.
right,
Those videos like the billboard thing. I also
right.
have a couple of videos planned where I go in the street and give away random money to random waiters and waitresses. Those kind of content. This is where what I think will be my entry point, if you want to call it.
Right. Yeah. People love seeing that type of stuff. And it's like really interesting. I remember back in 2009, I used to do a lot of YouTube and stuff, and it was pretty popular back then, but just to see it evolve over the last decade has been insane. It's like, with Antonio, like he was a content creator and now he's working full time at Motionbox. And just the opportunities that I think content creators have nowadays are tremendous. And it all
Yeah,
starts with being creative, trying different things, going out into the world. That's what people want to see is they want to see different things that they don't normally see on a day-to-day basis. They want to see humanity. They want to see people giving the waitress some extra cash. It's good emotions. People like to see it. People like to have different perspectives of the world, and YouTube kind of opens that up.
yeah, exactly. And especially here in Lebanon, like they are. It's not non-existent, but there are very, 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 very few people. I think just one person that does that, and which is why the sign thing kind of went viral here in Lebanon. Even
Right,
a very famous person here in Lebanon shared it. A verified user with has over 200,000 followers shared it on Twitter. It went really good. It performed really well
right,
because it's something new. Because it's something that not everybody has done it, and because I am someone that lived on the internet. So I have this mindset of doing crazy things. I have this mindset because I
right,
consume a lot of this content. In New York, for example, it might be something normal, like going
right.
pranking people or
That's why it's
hanging
important
signs
to
or
know where you're at and what your position is and how to be different, how to stand out. Like if you're in New York, like one thing that I saw that was really interesting is like there were some surfers in New York surfing during the snow. Like
yeah,
that's something completely different. You would never imagine, on the in the New York in the big city with snow that there would be surfers. Right? That's like that content went viral, right? Because it was a little bit different from the environment.
yeah,
So it's really important to know the environment that you're in and how to stand out. That's a really good way to think about things. And I think like if we can
exactly.
like leave anybody watching this with some advice is to like think deeply, like think like a scientist, think like you run experiments, like think about what environment are you in and how can you stand out, how can you be different.
Definitely, definitely. And like one of the things I'm facing also is talking in Arabic or in English, because if you want to make an impact in Lebanon,
Right.
it's an Arabic speaking company, speaking country, sorry. But I'm doing well in English. Like I'm doing very well in English.
Yeah,
I'm not having a lot of
you speak
trouble.
well. Yeah. And that's actually an interesting thing in terms of like the problem space with content in itself is being able to translate it so that the whole world can consume that content. That's the Antonio's back.
This is the reason. This is the reason I made it
There we
in
go.
English. Yeah,
So we were just talking about you're running the experiments and how like the environment that you're in, depending on where you're at, one thing may not work in another environment. That like in Lebanon, for instance, since he did a billboard, not everyone does that, so it's a unique thing.
Right.
If you were to do that in New York, it might not stand out as much.
it might be
Whereas
just
like
like
in New
a
York,
normal thing.
Right, like
yeah,
people are so used to the billboard kind of sitting there.
So
Just
you got to
like,
know
yeah,
what environment you're in. Like even like
yeah,
with the carousel community, okay, that's the environment. Well, what is the norm in that particular environment, and how can you stand out in that environment? So you got to know your position
oh
in
yeah,
order to make
absolutely,
the correct decisions, right? And then he was
yeah,
talking about how in Lebanon there's Arabic speaking people,
right,
and then he's also speaking English. So in terms of like content, it can be quite difficult to
Yeah.
translate the content into different languages. So like subtitles, that's what we provide here at Motionbox, is the ability to add subtitles and translate the subtitles to different languages so that at least the spoken words can be picked up by multiple people with different languages and different backgrounds. But that sounds like an interesting problem in itself. You actually see like Chrome and YouTube like offering subtitles a lot more. You guys probably not a whole lot of people know this, but I actually grew up with deaf parents, and so like I grew up with like
oh,
subtitles all over the TV and stuff. And so it's really
Yeah.
cool to see that like being a common thing for accessibility nowadays. But that's something that's
absolutely,
interesting is like joining the world through content, but there's a gap, right? It's like if you make content in English, well, it's really hard. But there are a lot of tools being provided. Like there are a lot of
yeah.
auto captions in YouTube and stuff that do the translations.
Yeah, like for YouTube videos, what I do, I just use like Rev. So basically, the subtitles are good, like the captions are good, like on the videos. And for some, like I haven't done it yet, but I've thought about because I started a new service that offers like also translation to other languages. I've also thought about doing that and adding like a Spanish translation to the YouTube videos that I do as well. So I think
You
it
use
opens.
Motionbox, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't
I
used
think,
it. I haven't used it like I used to like Rev to like export the things out like
Right.
the
The
audio.
SRT files. Oh,
Yeah. So then I have used that, and I mean I think it's just good to have that because I feel like it opens the doors for so many different audiences and so many different people that you would not be reaching if you don't expand. Like I think you do a good job. I think didn't you do like a reel recently that was in um like it was not in English?
actually, no. This is it. Like for
Yeah.
example, on Instagram, everything is English, but for
Right.
on TikTok, I'm
Right.
creating content in Arabic.
Correct.
It's just Arabic. I'm talking Arabic, so
Nice.
I'm kind of balancing it, and also
Nice.
because TikTok is a geolocated algorithm,
Right.
so the first people that see your TikToks are the local people, and everybody here speaks Arabic, and if they see somebody speaks English, for example, they just skip, and your
Right.
video won't be shown for other people. So I'm creating Arabic-speaking Arabic content, which is helping me get more followers. For example, on Instagram, if they are interested in me, and then they will consume English content and on YouTube. But on TikTok, I'm giving it all in Arabic and Instagram English and YouTube English.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a great
that
way to
for me
do it.
is a balance. That for
Yeah.
me is like a good balance, depending on what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. I mean, I think for me, specifically on Twitch, I'm able because it's live stream. If like I do have some people that do speak Spanish, so I'm able to basically on the spot just speak both languages and just do
Ah,
that
that's nice.
and kind of serve to both audiences that are there without having to like create different contents for it. I think that's kind of the beauty also of doing live stream or being on Twitch or any of those like platforms like that. Gives you the ability of on the spot do that without
Yeah,
having
actually,
to.
I will say,
here in Lebanon, it's easier because like almost it's not everybody, but a lot of people here speak English as well. So so it's not very uncommon to talk in English. A
Right.
lot of people because it's taught in school as well, English and French. So
Oh,
both of them are taught in school. So it's not very uncommon. People talk in English as well.
nice.
I watched Narcos Mexico recently, and it's all in Spanish.
Right.
And I was still highly engaged, just like with the subtitles being there. And I thought it was actually, at least for me, not knowing a lick of Spanish, following along, I was still engaged just by having the subtitles there.
Like just like La Casa de Papel, for example.
Yeah.
Everybody watches it, even though if it's in Spanish. Like even here in Lebanon,
Do you
everybody
watch
watches
it?
it. But yeah, I did watch the first 3 or 4 seasons. I guess it's 3. Yeah, I did watch them, and they're all in Spanish. But I would just put English subtitles and read the
Yeah.
subtitles.
And I like that it was in Spanish, Narcos Mexico in particular. I haven't seen the one that you just mentioned, but it's cool because then you kind of feel like you're a part of that culture, but you're still be able to follow along. So I don't, as
Yeah,
an English speaker, don't mind like watching content in a different language as long as I have
Yeah.
the subtitles. I think the
exactly.
subtitles are enough to really solve that
Oh
problem.
yeah. Yeah, there's some people that don't like it. I don't mind. Like I have watched like kind of like films from different countries, and I think it's just good to be able to see those movies and be able to also
I
like
would much
understand.
rather have the
Yeah.
actual actor speaking with the subtitles than some like dubbed over like
I hate
English
the
guy.
dubs over
The worst.
the
It's
worst.
Yeah.
Those
The worst,
Netflix
yeah.
dubs are like those Netflix dubs is just like the mouth is all over the place. The voices don't match.
I
Yeah.
can live without that. There was this
Yeah.
old TV show. I think it was like on TNT or something. It was like I just saw it on Amazon Prime recently. It's like MX, like Extreme Challenge or something like that, where like it was like Asian sort of like challenges where like there would be like a boulder rolling down and then they had to like go in and then sometimes they would like punch them back into the alley and there was like dubs over that. That made it funny though. But yeah, overall, like if it's a serious show, I just rather have subtitles.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah, same here.
Cool. I'm interested though. Before we talk a little bit about collaboration, I'd be interested because that's what we just launched the other day. My curiosity is sort of understanding a little bit more about the space. Like you're obviously solo, right? So you create all your content on your own. You probably just like maybe just get in the zone, and you're just working by yourself. You're not really working with other people. But you do service based stuff. So I'm wondering like
I
as
do have
service based.
I do have a designer, like I do have a designer, but for my clients, not for me. I do
Right.
have a designer for my clients, and just today I did an interview for someone in the marketing space, like a social media marketer, to start working with me. But for the
Yeah.
clients, for me, I do everything on my own.
see.
But for my clients, I do have a
So
designer.
you're
and-
trying to sounds like you're trying to figure out ways to like ease the load of effort and you're delegating basically. And so how would that work? If you have a client, let's say like what are some of the clients that you work with? Are they like auto mechanics, sort of local businesses, or
Yeah,
they usually
for now it's all local. It's all local, like service based, and they're all service based local businesses
Right.
online. But in terms of
so like web
delegation,
dev agencies and stuff like that?
sorry.
Like what are some examples of that? Like web dev agencies
So
or like
there's
lawyers or
yeah, so there's a fitness application. There's
fitness.
a loyalty membership application, so you get free entrances for hotels, free dinners. There is a web hosting company, which is one of my clients as well, and there's a local pub, a pub here in Lebanon. So
Cool.
they're all local, and
Right.
they're all from referrals. And because of the delegation, the way I see delegation is the task that you're not excited to do.
Nice.
This is the one that needs delegation. So if you're
Right,
not
right.
excited to do a task, so for me, graphic design for clients is not as exciting. I procrastinate on it
Right.
a lot. So I got a designer. The strategies, I do that. I love coming up with ideas. But the
Right.
execution part is what I hate.
You
So
hate
I
it.
got someone to do that. So for
Right,
me,
right.
delegation comes to what are the tasks that either you're not good at or either you don't enjoy doing.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to think in terms of that actual workflow. I feel like there's an opportunity here to like almost do like a handoff where maybe like the pub, for instance, has like an event that's coming up, and they want to sort of like let you guys know as the creative agency all these events that they want to announce, or all these like ideas of content that's related to what they're doing, and that might keep their fans and people that are in that area engaged. I wonder if like there'd be a cool way for them to like create a list or something, and then you guys can like go in and create the content around the list, and sort of have like a seamless way to communicate with them. Like, how do you guys currently do that?
In terms of creating the content, or in terms of communicating with the client in what they need. Because
Yeah, so it's sort of like a two-phase process. It's like initially they tell you like, hey, this is what we need. This is like, we really want to just keep our audience engaged with what events that we have coming up. I don't care how you guys create this content, but just like I just want these pieces to be out on social media like a week before the event. And that's pretty much it. And then I'm sure like you would go and create like maybe using Canva or Figma or Sketch,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You'd create like a flyer almost that they can post on their stories, right?
There are sometimes where because I like to always give more. So there are sometimes where I suggest to the owner like, hey, why don't we do this next week, or why don't we do that? So basically, of course, this is a business suggestion. It doesn't have to do anything with content, but I use that as a way to be like, okay, you can do this event because this will be great for marketing. So I was like, okay, you can do, for example, a competition in your pub. If you win, you get a free shot. This is a business choice. but this will be
Right.
this will be great on social media. So I advise that.
Right.
So I'm always with my clients. I'm not just okay social media. I always think of ways to increase the business. So for example,
Right.
web hosting. I have a web hosting client. I don't just be like, okay, let's do this on Instagram. I always talk to them and hey, why don't we do affiliate? Why don't you work with agencies? I always try to help them business wise because I
Absolutely. Yeah.
know this would be good marketing wise.
Right, right. That makes sense. But then I'm sure, like, okay, for instance, maybe they run a trivia or the pub does like a competition. Obviously, you do some announcement. It seems like what type of content would you create to make those announcements happen? Would you create just like a graphic letting people know, or would you create a video, or like what type of content would you
Uh,
create in this
if we're
case?
talking that, I would create an animation video. It would look cool. Like if it's a trivia night or if it's an announcement, an
Right,
animation video looks very cool because it's if it's a fun thing, if the game or if the event is fun, you need something
right,
fun to attract that. So you would
right,
create a video, a fun video animation, words popping up, some graphics like images popping up because this will help attract or create the feeling of what the event will be. So
right, right,
if it's a trivia night, it's fun, it's entertainment. So you need
right.
to create that vibe online for people to be like, oh, if the video is entertaining, this means the event will be entertaining.
Right. And would you have your social media? Well, now that you're hiring a designer slash social media marketer, would you just delegate that to them and have them just take on that task?
This is it. I got a social media marketer to help me, but for me, I still want to be involved. Not because I
Right.
want to control or I want to tell her what to do, but because I enjoy that. So I
Right.
want to get someone to delegate, so I can free up my time. But at the same time, I want to be included in that whole process. But she will
What,
do the
right.
details.
What does that look like currently? Like if you wanted to get involved, like how would you get involved? It sounds like maybe you would like do you currently like have a Slack group, or do you like how do you communicate to your employers or employees?
Right now, I do have an office, but I'm not going there. But for
Right.
now, it's all in meeting. Like I schedule weekly meeting on Monday to go over everything, all the clients, all that needs to be done. This is what I'm
Right.
planning to do. So having weekly meetings to actually assess what we have done and what will be done. What we will do.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So it's
So
kind of just cleaning up everything so that everybody knows what they need to do, and it's just not
yeah.
like, oh, you do this, you do that, you do this. No, we're all working together.
As a
Right.
team,
Right.
it's a collaboration.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, because we just launched the video collaboration features, and I'm looking for some opportunities here for us to like really serve that particular use case. Because I think like at least for me, like when Antonio and I were working in Figma, like we're not constantly collaborating, and that's not like a thing that you get out of collaboration. But every now and then, maybe we will work together, and that's been beneficial. There's been a few really cool features that Figma has offered us inside Motionbox. And one of those things is like we have like a shared repository of assets. Like we have our logo, we have our brand colors, we have icons that we share across the board. We have like compositions of like the logo with our like like our hashtag or Instagram
Yeah,
like at.
Handle.
So we like are able to combine things, and we're able to reuse them, and we're able to put it in the centralized repository, and we're able to work on it together. And then that's like been a really valuable thing for us. And it's something that I really want to bring into the video world, because I feel like, for instance, like the pub, you might have like 10 different pubs that you guys work with, and you might want to like hash out a few like maybe animated list items that might come in across the board. You might want to reuse that. And all you have to do is just update the actual contents of the list item, but you can make the animation ahead of time. And
yeah,
you don't have to worry about recreating and reinventing the wheel over and over and over. And you can make it, right? And then your social media manager can go in and just use it and put the compositions
exactly.
together. And since you like to have a little bit of control ahead of time, you can just tinker with like some things that you want the team to use in the future, and then you don't have to
Exactly.
worry
Like
about putting it together.
this is what because I love doing that. I love coming up with ideas. I love creating the things.
Right,
But it's just gets too hard. Like I have 5, 6 clients, and that's not talking about my own content, which is
Right.
TikTok, YouTube, and it's
right,
just too much. It's too much of things that I don't like. So I'm
right,
trying to remove the things that I don't like, add the things that I like, and just like managing your day, managing your time, and managing
right.
your actual mental state. Because if you're doing a lot of things that you don't like, it starts to affect other things. So
Absolutely.
I went into a point where I'm starting to hate content creation on Instagram for me because Yeah, because I've been overwhelmed with client work that I'm just not feeling well.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it leads to burnout. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think there's like a whole lot of opportunity there because you're talking about like motion graphics and stuff, and that just has me all excited. I really want to showcase what we've built with the collaboration. So I'm gonna. How about Antonio? You share your screen since mine was like having some issues. Since we have like 10 minutes left, I really just want to talk about sort of what we rolled out in terms of collaboration and see if
yeah,
like we can gain some new ideas here from your workflow. Um, let's see. You have it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you
So
should be good.
basically, that is a video editor where I'm also a part of this session. So you can see my cursor moving around. And there's also another Michael that is a different account over in the bottom right hand corner. But basically, the idea is like Antonio and I, if like we're working within an organization, like I can go in. Like I don't know what this clip is. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And so I deleted that on my end, and you are able to see those changes in real time. And so you and I, like together, like I can leave comments on certain elements. Like if you highlight an element, Antonio, you can actually like see that there's a comment button that you can click. And if you click on that, you can leave a comment and be like whatever you want to say. Like this is for client A. The colors should match the brand or something. Since like currently it's using our brand color, maybe you need to leave a note saying, okay, that needs to actually be a different color. So I just saw that, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the color to, let's say it's like a pink. And so there we go. I just changed it to a pink color. So now you can see I got that message. We were able to collaborate on that in real time, and so we saved a lot of back and forth. We saved a ton of
yeah,
back and forth. And so like there's obviously a lot of benefits in the actual collaboration aspect of it, but there's a whole lot of things that I think Figma has done well that I'm learning from. And one of those things is like we talked about the component library. So use your imagination here, but like let's say like we had a few things that we made ahead of time. I can just go over to the sidebar here where my cursor is. I can click library or components, whatever you want to call it, and we can reuse a lot of pre-made things. Like we can add our logos, we can add maybe an animated version of the logo, whatever it is. But you and I, if we're working on this project together for a client, for instance, there's a lot that we can do right here, right now, in real time. We can work in parallel. We can reduce the amount of back and forth, save a lot of time, save a lot of headache.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think there's a lot of cool things in just that alone. But yeah, basically like what you can expect when you are using this tool is like, on a more technical level, like, for instance, you see that the border now is red, matching my cursor color, indicating that I now own these selected objects. So I can move them around just like that. And Antonio can't actually like grab them because I'm interacting with them. So little things like that make the experience a lot better. Antonio's now selected the editor, which is like the artboard in the background. So if I actually move these objects, if you select the editor, you can select the editor and change the color, like that white space. Just click on it, and then you can change it to green or whatever. So he has control over
Oh
that.
yeah,
While
that's nice.
I have control over these elements. So yeah, we're working in real time, and we're able to do some cool things. That's just like sort of the basics of collaboration. There's also the ability to, like, you see the share button over here where my cursor is. It's a little bit delayed, but basically that share button, that's where you can actually go and add friends and teammates. And then you can basically involve them in the document, and you can work with your copywriters, your designers.
So it's
Basically,
basically just you're creating together. It's not just like going back and forth with sending something and then getting back and then go and forth and up and back. Just working together on it.
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can go in parallel, or you can go asynchronously, or you can go synchronously.
Right.
But the thing is, like, since it's the raw materials, like it's not the rendered version of the video. Like if I'm like on lunch right now, Antonio can like leave a comment and ping me and say, and we're eventually going to add alerts where I can go and I can look, oh, Antonio's asking for me to do something. I can go do it real quick before we render. So that's the nice thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, like I think there's not a whole lot of tools that, like, video tools that are doing this. So we're kind of in a new space where we're still
Your
trying to
voice
figure
is
out. Okay,
cracking up a bit.
let me disable the video. Save some bandwidth here. Is it a little bit better?
Oh yeah,
Cool. So basically, the idea with sort of this space that we're in is it's new, and we're still trying to figure out some of the use cases. But that's why I asked you about, you as the CEO of the agency working with the brand manager and the designer, like how that would look. And it seems like this could save a lot of time in the sense that, you have the pub, maybe you want to create a quick video. I can go and I can add some text. I can go and maybe like, instead of using this person, I can like search for a bar or something. And then like I can maybe add this image here. And then from there, there, I got the image. So from here, I can actually, let's move this to the beginning. And then from here, from here, I can actually, so you got the bar, we got this will be epic. So I was able to add the image, and then like, Antonio, you can edit the text. Go ahead and edit the text to something that's a little bit more like along the lines of like bar terms or whatever. Kamal, like you're brilliant.
Hey,
Marketing mind.
Yeah,
Happy hour. There you go. So there, we have happy hour, and then I was able to edit the image while he was able to. So we're literally working on this in real time. Like this is a perfect use case. And then I'd be like, okay, well, let's just delete this seal. We don't need the seal. I'm going to move this over to 10 seconds. And there we go. Now we have a 10-second video. And Antonio, can you move that motion to the beginning? Okay, that's cool. I think that looks good. And one thing that we're going to add is like a sync mode, where we can like play back the video at the same time. But we have this animated text, so we can add something like I don't know, join us for happy hour. I mean, this is kind of a low fidelity, just kind of half-baked video, but the idea is now, I mean, we collaborated on that. We can render it and we'll be done. And then the other thing that we can do is like, I can go and I can change the video to IG tall, or I can change it to like story mode. And so I can go and I can group these items. I'll go ahead and I'll center them to make it look a little bit better. And then there we go. We have like a story version as well. So I think the idea is like,
nice.
What we could do is, we could create like a duplicate and create multiple versions of it, just like that, and have stories and posts and all that good stuff.
That's sick. That's very sick.
So that's like our demo. We just launched this last night, but we're still open to like learning from people like you, like from agency owners, and sort of how we can help solve the problems in that space and make you guys go faster and give you creative control where you're working on the high level stuff and you're able to delegate some like maybe pre-made components to your team, and you're able to create systems and you're able to move faster and you're able to be a part of that process.
This will definitely help with actually managing a lot of, when you have, just like you said, when you have a team, like multiple people have opinions over a piece of creative, it's definitely very good. Just like we did, for example, let's say I'm the CEO, you are the video editor, Antonio is the copywriter. We can just, the three of us work on it. That would open a lot of ways for collaborations on content.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this needs to exist. I mean, Figma has done a great job with it in this like static graphic space, but nobody's doing it with video, and I think it needs to exist, and I think it's going to be us. And the only way that we can truly make this valuable is by talking to you, Kamal, and other people like you, and we want to work together and we want to learn, because Antonio and I are creators ourselves, but the more people that we can get involved in this project, the better. And so I invite anybody watching this or watches it in the future, if you're a creator, we want to talk to you. We want to work with you, because this is something that we have to do together. But I think the world needs this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of potential here in this one. Yeah,
man. Stay in touch. You should join our Slack community, and we would love to continue to learn from you and stay in touch with you. You've been amazing, Kamal. I personally learned so much from you, and I'm really impressed with the billboard and what you're doing. And I really, I want to call you a friend, and I'd love to connect with you in the future.
Of course, man, of course.
It's been great meeting you. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Yeah.
No worries, man. No worries. I really enjoyed it. Great talk. It was a great talk.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's always great.
Thank you, Antonio, for putting this together and getting Kamal on the call. And that's the power of community, the power of just putting yourself out there, doing what you love, and meeting the people that are in the same field, cool things happen. That's what life's all about.
100%, man. 100%.
All right, guys.
So thank you so much, guys, for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming in, honestly. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Peace, guys.